I walked onto my own property and found a demolition crew ripping my mansion apart. And the HOA president standing there, smiling, clipboard in hand, telling me I'd abandoned it. The smell of diesel exhaust, the screech of metal on wood, my 100-year-old oak staircase, the one I'd spent weeks planning to restore, in splinters on the lawn. 6 months ago, I bought this place for $127,000 at auction. Thornhill Manor, a 1920s lakefront dream on Lake Matthias, upstate New York. 6 bedrooms, 2 acres, 200 feet of private water. Sure, it was a wreck, but I'm Marcus Jennings, 20 years Navy Seabees. I've rebuilt bridges in war zones, left for a 3-month Alaska job, came home to this. The woman with the clipboard, Darlene Van Camp, real estate agent, HOA president, professional thief apparently. Would you have called the cops or done what I did? Comment below. Where are you watching from? Got an HOA nightmare? Tell me. Let me take you back to where this started, because every good fight has a reason worth fighting for. I spent 20 years in the Navy. Seabees, construction battalion. We built airstrips in the middle of nowhere, bridges under fire, barracks in 120-degree heat. Good work. Honest work. Then a training accident in my 18th year put shrapnel in my left leg. I walk with a limp now. Medical retirement at 45, Virginia disability checks, and a toolbox full of skills nobody wanted to hire. So I did carpentry, side jobs, deck repairs, kitchen remodels, kept me afloat. My grandmother Estelle raised me in a 2-bedroom apartment in Syracuse. She cleaned houses for a living, never owned anything, just rented, moved, rented again. But she had this habit. She'd clip pictures from magazines, lakefront homes, big porches, docks stretching into blue water. She'd tape them inside her closet door and whisper, "One day, baby, one day we'll have a place like that." She died when I was 23. Never got her lake house. Fast forward to 2 years ago. I'm scrolling auction listings, probably should have been job hunting, and I see it. Thornhill Manor, estate sale, foreclosure, lakefront, starting bid $95K. The photos looked like a horror movie set, but I saw the hand-carved oak staircase, the stone fireplace, built in 1924. Solid craftsman bones under all that rot. Auction day, I'm the only bidder. Closed at $127,000. Liquidated everything, savings, truck fund, Virginia rehab loan for $47K. My daughter Zoe said, "Dad, that's not a fixer-upper. That's a felony waiting to happen." First walk through, the smell hit me like a wall. Wet plaster, mouse droppings, something dead somewhere. Broken glass crunched under my boots. But sunlight poured through busted shutters, turning dust into gold. I ran my hand over that oak newel post, smooth, cool, generations of hands before mine, and felt Estelle watching. I had 18 months mapped out. Foundation, electrical, roof, woodwork, do-it-myself, stretch the loan. Day 3, a white Lexus parks at my driveway's end. Out steps this woman, mid-60s, helmet of ash blonde hair, pastel cardigan, clipboard gripped like a warrant. "Mr. Jennings?" Didn't wait for my answer. Darlene Van Camp, Architectural Review Board Chair for Lakeview Estates HOA. Thornhill violates 17 codes and 4 covenants. 30 days to submit plans for approval. I blinked. "Ma'am, I'm not in an HOA. Deed says no covenants." Her smile was all teeth, no warmth. "Oh, sweetheart, the plat map was amended in 2003. You bought in whether you knew it or not. There's nothing on my... Your title company missed it, not my problem." She clicked back to her Lexus. Wouldn't step onto the gravel, like poverty was contagious, and left. I Googled her that night. Real estate agent. Planning Commission vice chair. Widow of County Judge Van Camp. She mentioned him constantly later. Owned 3 lake rentals. Ran Van Camp and Associates Brokerage. 2 weeks later, I submitted 40 pages. Architect drawings, engineer stamps, every spec. Rejection in 72 hours. Materials not in keeping with neighborhood character. I appealed. The ARB hearing was 10 minutes in a room reeking of burnt coffee and floral air freshener. Darlene sat at the head. Her buddy Ron, retired dentist, pasty guy, sat beside her. Darlene mispronounced my name 3 times. "Mr. Jenkins." Ron leaned in. "You sure you can handle a project this scope, given your situation?" Glanced at my leg brace. "Darlene, syrup sweet. We just want what's best for the community. Maybe a smaller property would suit you better?" I kept my face neutral. "I'll resubmit with adjustments." Walking out, I heard Ron mutter, "Good luck with that." That's when I knew. This wasn't about codes. She wanted me gone. Week 4. I hired a structural crew, 3 guys, good rates, to shore up the sagging north wall. Winter was 4 months out. If that wall went, the whole second floor could collapse. Day 2 of work, a county inspector pulls up. "Jerry, 50s, gut hanging over his belt, clipboard permanently glued to his hand. Work stop order. He slapped a red tag on my front door like he was serving a warrant. I wiped sawdust off my hands. What's the problem? Building permits incomplete. Foundation surveys off by 18 inches. Need an amended permit before you continue. Off by 18 inches according to who? Jerry shrugged. County records, you'll need a new survey. 6 to 8 weeks processing. All work ceases immediately. Walked back to his truck, boots crunching gravel loud enough to wake the dead. Didn't even look back. I called the survey company that afternoon. They pulled their file. Mr. Jennings, our measurements were accurate to the inch. We stake our license on it. Then who told the county it was wrong? Long pause. Permit review committee flagged it. There's a vice chair signature on the hold order. Didn't need 3 guesses. My contractor Lyle called that night. Good man, father of 4, voice tight with guilt. Marcus, I can't keep my crew idle 2 months. I got mortgage, truck payments. I'm sorry, brother. I know. No hard feelings. I sat alone in Thornhill that evening on the grand staircase. Only piece of furniture in the whole place. The half-braced wall gaped open to November wind. Outside, the lake lapped against the dock. Used to sound peaceful. Now it sounded like mocking laughter. My phone buzzed. Zoe texting. Dad, you okay? I typed back. Yeah, just tired. Didn't tell her I'd been staring at that wall for an hour thinking maybe she was right. Maybe this was a teardown. Maybe I should cut my losses, sell to some developer, take the L. Then I looked down. My hand was resting on that oak newel post. Smooth, cool. 100 years of other hands. I thought about Estelle in that cramped apartment taping magazine pictures inside her closet. One day, baby, screw that. I wasn't done. Next morning, I drove to the county clerk's office. Basement archives. The kind of place that smells like old paper and government neglect. Fluorescent lights buzzing like dying wasps overhead. I pulled every plat map, every zoning amendment, every HOA document from 1990 to present. Microfiche machines humming, pages scrolling until my eyes burned. 3 nights. Gas station coffee that tasted like asphalt. And then I found it. That 2003 amendment Darlene kept waving around, the one that supposedly tied Thornhill to the HOA, never ratified by county legislature, just town council. I remembered something from a construction law class the Navy made me take. Town councils can't impose deed restrictions on existing properties without higher approval. It's selective enforcement, spot zoning they call it, illegal as hell in New York. And Darlene's signature was right there on the petition. Her late husband the judge, Ron the dentist, 2 other board cronies. All 5 owned lots next to Thornhill. I cross-checked property records. After that amendment passed, their values jumped 30%. They'd rigged the game to squeeze out Thornhill's original owners. I scanned 18 pages, drafted a 6-page memo at 2 a.m. with shaking hands and my 4th cup of burnt rubber coffee. Emailed the full town council, copied Beth Ramirez at the local paper, copied the state attorney general's HOA fraud hotline. Subject, illegal covenant enforcement and abusive process, Thornhill Manor. Hit send at 11:47 p.m. Tuesday. I'm no lawyer, can barely spell affidavit, but Fury and Google make one hell of a legal team. By Thursday, town council scheduled an emergency session. Translation, panic mode. Darlene called Friday afternoon. I stared at her name on my screen, almost let it go to voicemail. Marcus, first names now. Her voice dripping fake warmth like poisoned honey. I think there's been a misunderstanding. Let's have coffee, work this out like neighbors. I stood in Thornhill's skeleton, looking at exposed studs, the tarp snapping in the wind over that half-finished wall. I'll take my coffee at the next council meeting, Darlene. Public comment period. Silence. Then I heard it. Her nails, sharp little clicks against her phone, a tight breath. You're making a mistake. Probably not my first. Definitely won't be my last. I hung up. That night I installed 4 security cameras, every angle covered, cloud backup. If she wanted war, I'd document every battle. The council meeting was 2 weeks out. Plenty of time for her to escalate. And, oh, she did. Week 7. I showed up to the monthly HOA meeting, open to the public technically, ready to present my findings about that illegal plat map. I had printouts. I had my laptop with scanned documents. I even wore a button-down shirt instead of my usual Carhartt. Figured I'd look respectable, professional, harder to dismiss. I walked into that meeting room at the community center and knew immediately I'd been outplayed. Darlene had beaten me there by 2 hours. Every single seat had a glossy flyer on it, full color, professional print job. Must have cost her $500 easy. Guess that's what panic buys you. Header in bold red. Safety concerns at Thornhill Manor. One resident's reckless renovation endangers us all. I picked one up. My hands didn't shake. That's Navy training. You don't react until you've assessed the situation. But inside, I was furious. The flyer claimed my unsecured construction site was attracting trespassers, teenagers drinking by the lake, leaving trash. Said debris from my work was washing into the water, creating environmental hazards. Accused me of doing unlicensed electrical work that could spark a fire and threaten neighboring homes. Every single word was a lie, but it was printed on heavy cardstock with charts and bullet points, so it looked true. Darlene sat at the head table, hands folded, that pearl necklace gleaming under the fluorescent lights. She smiled at me, not a friendly smile, the smile of someone holding a royal flush. I sat in the back row, didn't say a word, just listened. 3 neighbors testified, all of them ARB members or relatives thereof. First up was Phyllis, 70s, Darlene's bridge partner, floral dress, and enough perfume to gas a small room. My property value has dropped $40,000 since that man moved in. $40,000. My realtor confirmed it. She wouldn't look at me. Second was Ron the dentist. I've personally witnessed unsecured materials, lumber piles, exposed wiring. It's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Third was some guy I'd never seen. Turned out to be Ron's cousin, lived 3 streets over. My kids used to play by that lake. Now I won't let them near it. Who knows what's in the water? The room nodded along. People I'd never met, never wronged, all agreeing I was some kind of reckless menace. One woman in the 3rd row glanced at me, then quickly looked away. Then Darlene stood, cleared her throat. The room went silent. Given these serious concerns, I'm proposing an emergency bylaw amendment. Any uninhabitable structure left unoccupied for 90 consecutive days can be declared a public nuisance. The HOA would have the authority to remedy the situation, up to and including demolition, with costs billed to the property owner. She paused. Let that sink in. We're not targeting anyone. This is about protecting our community. Ron nodded. Phyllis nodded. Half the room nodded like bobbleheads on a dashboard. When public comment finally opened, I didn't stand up and yell, didn't slam my fist on a table. I walked to the front calmly, pulled out my phone, and connected it to the projector, borrowed from the VFW hall that morning. Before you vote, I said, voice level, you should see this. First image, time-stamped security footage from my cameras. 11:14 p.m., 3 nights prior. Ron, yes, that Ron, pulling up to my dock in his pickup, dumping a hefty bag of empty Bud Light cans onto the grass, then driving off. You could see his license plate clear as day. The room went dead silent. Phyllis's mouth opened. Ron turned the color of old oatmeal. Second image. Water quality test results from an independent lab dated 1 week ago. 0 pollutants detected near Thornhill's shoreline. Then a second report. Elevated bacteria levels near, and I read the address aloud. 346 Lakeshore Drive. That's one of your rental properties, Darlene. Leaking septic tank. Cost me $220 to test. Worth every penny. Third, a printout from my lawyer buddy at the VA. Rick had looked at Darlene's proposed bylaw and laughed so hard he nearly spilled his coffee. Turns out passing a rule specifically to punish someone who already bought property, that's what lawyers call retroactive application, basically illegal in every state with functioning courts. Plus, I'd been paying property taxes and insurance every month since closing. Legally, that's maintaining occupancy. Her bylaw was theater. I looked straight at Darlene. Mrs. Van Camp, I don't know if you're trying to steal my home or if you just can't stomach the idea of someone like me, a guy with a limp and a VA check, owning a piece of this lake. Either way, I'm not going anywhere. And if that bylaw passes, I'll see you in court. Fraud and selective enforcement don't tend to play well there. Silence. Not a cough. Not a shuffle. Then Beth Ramirez, the newspaper editor, sitting in the press section, started clapping. Slow, deliberate. 3 other people joined in. Darlene's face went from pale to crimson in about 2 seconds. She stood, grabbed her folder, and walked out without adjourning the meeting. Just left. Ron had to scramble for the gavel and bang it twice. Meeting tabled, pending legal review. I walked out into the parking lot. Cold November air, smell of wet leaves and gasoline from the mowers stored behind the building. My hands were shaking now, adrenaline finally catching up. Next morning, I found a dead raccoon on my front porch. Stiff, eyes clouded. Someone's idea of intimidation, I guess. I stood there holding my coffee, staring at it, and genuinely wondered what kind of person thinks a dead animal is a power move. Called animal control, had it removed in 20 minutes, added another camera aimed at the porch. Darlene wanted to play stupid games. Fine. I had unlimited storage space and a growing evidence folder. Week 10. Darlene changed tactics. Since the HOA route had blown up in her face, she went back to what she knew best, weaponizing her planning commission connections. Monday morning, 8 a.m. sharp, a code enforcement officer showed up. Clipboard, reflective vest, took photos of my property from 17 different angles like he was documenting a crime scene. Wrote me up for overgrown vegetation creating fire hazard. The vegetation in question, native wildflowers I was intentionally preserving. I'd even gotten it certified as wildlife habitat through the state conservation program, had the paperwork and everything. Didn't matter. Violation issued. $500 per day if not corrected within 10 days. Tuesday, health inspector. Found an open foundation violation. The open foundation was a crawl space vent, standard ventilation, required by code in every house built after 1950. Still got written up, another $500 per day. Wednesday, fire marshal. Cited me for unsecured hazardous chemicals. My paint cans, stored in a locked metal cabinet per OSHA regulations, labels facing out, lids tight. I showed him my Navy Seabees certification. I'd handled actual explosives in combat zones, but he just shrugged and wrote the ticket. $500 per day. 3 violations. 10 days to fix problems that weren't problems. Total potential fines, $15,000. I sat at my folding table that night in the pop-up camper. No running water in Thornhill yet, no heat, just me and a space heater that barely worked. November cold crept through the canvas walls. My bad knee throbbed in the damp. I spread those citations out like a losing hand at cards and did the math. 15 grand would wipe out what was left of my renovation budget. I'd have to stop work entirely, sell at a loss, prove Darlene right. I sat there for an hour staring at those papers and genuinely wondered if Estelle would have wanted me to destroy myself over a house. Maybe the smart move was surrender. Then my phone rang. Lyle, my old contractor, the one who'd had to bail months ago. Marcus, I heard what she's doing. It's garbage, man. Look, I can't do full-time, but weekends, I'm yours, free labor. You just cover materials. I couldn't speak for a second. Lyle, you got 4 kids, mortgage. I can't ask you to... You're not asking, I'm offering. My kids need to see that sometimes you stand up to bullies instead of just talking about it. Let me help. My throat went tight. 20 years in the military, I'd had brothers in arms. Hadn't expected to find one here. Yeah, okay, thank you. 10 minutes later, Elena called. My neighbor 2 lots over, the one who never joined Darlene's HOA cult. Marcus, I saw who dumped that raccoon. Ron's brother-in-law. I got his plate number. I'll sign an affidavit if you need it. Elena, you know she'll come after you next. She laughed. Sharp. Bitter. Honey, she's been trying to cite me for unapproved mailbox color for 3 years. I'm used to it. Besides, my daughter's watching. I'm not teaching her to look away. That's 2, I thought. 2 people willing to stick their necks out. Third call came that evening. Beth from the newspaper. I've been digging into Darlene's past. Found 3 prior HOA disputes. All settled out of court. All with NDAs. Can't print specifics, but the pattern's obvious. She's a repeat offender. Can you run with that? Not yet. But keep feeding me facts. I'll build the case. I hung up and sat there in the dark camper, space heater humming, and realized something. I wasn't alone anymore. That changed the math entirely. Week 11. Then Darlene filed a lien against Thornhill, claimed I owed 6 months of HOA dues, $200 per month plus $800 in late fees, $1,200 total. The lien hit public record Friday afternoon. Monday morning, my bank sent a letter. Title cloud detected. Resolve immediately or loan may be called. That was the gut punch. A lien tanks your credit, spooks lenders, kills renovations dead. Darlene knew exactly what she was doing. She was trying to financially strangle me. I called Rick, my VA attorney buddy, told him everything. Long silence on his end, then a low whistle. Marcus? Filing a knowingly false lien in New York? That's a misdemeanor. Plus, it opens her to civil damages, triple the lien amount. She just committed a crime in writing and signed her name to it. How fast can we move? 48 hours. Watch this. Rick sent a demand letter that afternoon. Certified mail, legal letterhead, the works. Withdraw the lien in 48 hours or face criminal referral and a $3,600 counterclaim. Darlene's expensive Albany attorney called Rick Tuesday morning. They spoke for 11 minutes. Wednesday, the lien vanished. No apology, no explanation. Just gone. But Beth ran the story anyway. Page 3. Veteran battles HOA overreach. Van Camp under scrutiny for development conflicts. In a town of 8,000, page 3 might as well be a front-page felony. That night I built a fire in the pit by the dock, burned the lien withdrawal notice ceremonially, completely legal, completely satisfying. The paper curled and blackened, smoke twisting up into the cold October dark. I could smell applewood from the kindling, taste the ash on the wind. Somewhere overhead, a skein of geese honked south. They had the right idea: leave before winter kills you. But I wasn't built that way. I cracked a beer, sat on the cold dock planks, and watched the embers glow. Darlene was panicking now. Panicked people make mistakes, and I'd be there to document every single one. Week 13. Beth called me on a Tuesday morning while I was up on Thornhill's roof patching a leak, hands numb, fingers barely working. "Marcus, you need to see this. I'm coming over now." 20 minutes later, she pulled up with a cardboard file box and the kind of caffeinated energy that screams either breakthrough or breakdown. We crammed into my camper, barely room for 2 humans in her evidence pile, and she started pulling documents like a magician with a very boring rabbit. I requested 5 years of planning commission votes, took them 6 weeks to comply, but look, she'd made a spreadsheet. Darlene's votes on one side, development projects on the other, 7 controversial lakefront builds, all 7 approved by Darlene. All 7 were Van Camp and Associates clients. Average commission, 22 grand each. I whistled low. That's a pattern. That's a career. But wait, there's more. She pulled out a brittle photocopy. Property records 2019. Thornhill Manor pre-foreclosure. Edward Collier, the original owner, was in a nursing home. His daughter Claire was trying to manage the sale from Oregon. Stapled to the back, a notice of interest, filed by Darlene Van Camp. Offer, $95,000. My stomach dropped. She tried to buy Thornhill, lowball offer. Claire rejected it. 6 months later, it went to auction. Darlene probably thought she'd coast in, grab it for pennies, flip it to a developer for 300 grand. Beth's grin was sharp. Then you showed up and ruined her retirement plan. How'd you find the daughter? Reporters never reveal sources, but Claire kept emails. Read this. She handed me her phone. Email from April 2019. Darlene's business account to Claire Collier. Subject: final offer. 3 sentences. Miss Collier, I urge you to reconsider my offer of $95,000. If you refuse, I will ensure the property is condemned as uninhabitable. The town will seize it via eminent domain, and you will receive nothing. This is your last opportunity to walk away whole. I read it once, twice. My vision tunneled. She threatened to destroy someone's inheritance if they didn't sell to her. Extortion in writing, using her planning commission position as a weapon. Claire's been carrying this for 5 years, thinking nobody would believe her against a judge's widow. I handed the phone back. My voice came out flat. What happens now? Forwarded to the DA and Attorney General this morning. Rick has copies. This isn't HOA drama anymore, Marcus. This is felony abuse of office. Criminal extortion. She weaponized her public position for private profit. I leaned back against the camper's thin wall. The space heater rattled like it was trying to shake itself apart. Outside, the lake churned gray and angry. How many others, you think? More than we'll ever know. But that email's a smoking gun. Beth packed up her files. DA's opening an investigation. Albany News Station wants to run it tonight. 6 p.m., I watched on my phone. Young reporter outside Darlene's office knocking. She opened the door, saw the camera, slammed it hard enough to rattle the frame. Mrs. Van Camp, did you threaten eminent domain to force a property sale? Her voice through the door, shaking. No comment. Leave me alone. 18 seconds of footage. By midnight, 18,000 Facebook views. Comments exploded. A contractor said she'd blocked his permits until he hired her nephew. A retired teacher claimed Darlene threatened violations when she wouldn't list with Van Camp and Associates. The town was excavating decades of buried grudges. I sat on the dock that night, breath pluming white in the cold, and thought about Edward Collier, about his daughter getting that threatening email, about every person Darlene had crushed, who didn't have cameras or lawyers or a newspaper editor in their corner. She'd built an empire on fear. Now the foundation was cracking. My phone buzzed. Text from Rick. DA wants to meet. Thursday, 10 a.m. Bring everything. I texted back. Everything? Might need a truck. His reply, bring the truck. I smiled in the dark. Darlene had spent months trying to bury me. Time to return the favor. Thursday morning, VFW Hall, 9 a.m. I showed up with 2 file boxes, a laptop, and every receipt I'd saved since buying Thornhill. Rick was already there. My attorney buddy, 50-something, perpetually rumpled suit, sharp as a tack. Beth arrived with a thermos of coffee strong enough to dissolve spoons. Lyle brought blueprints. We spread everything across the bar like we were planning a bank heist, except legal and significantly less profitable. All right, Rick said, cracking his knuckles. Darlene's wounded but not dead. DA's investigation takes months. We need 3 simultaneous attacks. He grabbed a cocktail napkin. I'm dead serious, an actual bar napkin.